You absolutely need to have more agents up here. You need to end catch and release. If you're going across the northern St. Lawrence River or come across the lake or on foot, they need to know right from the start, you can come, but you're going to be arrested, you're not going to be released, and we're going to remove you. It's not going to be like the Biden administration. We're going to process and release you and never to show up in court. You're not walking away. We're going to lock you up. So more agents will end catch and release.
So that there is the incoming Boarder Czar, Tom Homan, and he's vowing to end catch and release in his new role in the next Trump administration. He says that there will be more agents deployed to the northern border, an area that hasn't been discussed all that much. This comes as Trump has promised to take decisive action against the southern border by cracking down on illegal immigration and staffing up areas overrun by migrants. Let's bring in Michael Charbon, host of the Charbon Report. Great to see you. Nice to have you back. Let's talk about the northern border. We have talked about it on this show before. But do you think that there needs to be more agents up on the northern border?
Of course, there has to be a consideration. There should be some kind of joint effort. I mean, Justin Trudeau suggested at one time that he was going to bring 5,000 Palestinian refugees here. I mean, Marco Rubio just went nuts. So did many people in Canada. I mean, it's the wrong thing to consider. We have a 5,000-mile border. We only have 147 touch points, which makes lots of land and lots of walking. We have free health care. I mean, if you're an illegal alien and you're trying to escape the United States for fear of deportation, go north, young man. The only thing that we have in our favor is winter, John, and I think you understand that.
Yeah, it's cold up there, that's for sure. Some parts of that country. Let's talk, though. I mean, what is Canada doing in terms of if the illegals show up in Canada? But are they deporting them? What happens to those asylum seekers that show up unannounced in Canada?
So it is a negligible position at this point. Don't forget, we're dealing with Justin Trudeau. We're dealing with a liberal, woke government who, by the way, is behind the polls by 20%. We've had a whole problem. We have over 500,000 illegal students and visa holders here. Right. This is still to be determined. One would hope that they would be arrested and detained, but unfortunately, I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. And as more people, I mean, we've got a couple of Chinook helicopters and the snowbirds to protect us. We don't have Cobra helicopters and Humvees, so we're in a bit of a position up here. And I think it's going to really shock Canadians because we are not prepared, John.
Yeah, that's a good point. And in the lead up to the election here, Homan, he did speak to 60 Minutes about his incoming administration's plan to deport illegal immigrants. Let's watch that.
We have seen one estimate that says it would cost $88 billion to deport 1 million people a year.
I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Is that what American taxpayers should expect?
What price do you put on national security? Is that worth it?
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
I mean, he's got some strong words here about this deportation plan. But my question, I guess, in Canada, do you expect that more people will try to find asylum in Canada, given that a lot of them are going to be deported out of the United States?
That's what we're afraid of, John. We're afraid of that. That's the whole point. And you have to have a strong, vocal government who, like Mr. Homan here is saying, is if you come to the United States or are in the United States or get caught by any level of reinforcement or government, that you're going to be detained and deported. Canada doesn't want to make that statement because we're, holding hands and singing Kumbaya. That's the Liberal government. The Conservatives are very firm on the fact that they would do that. And if you want more, I got to tell you, I'm just endorsing Bianca's book here. If you want to read a lot more about what's going on and what's happening, that's a good reference. But I'm telling you, in Canada, there are some people who are very afraid of what this is going to do to our economy and our cities. We're already overrun in our shelters, and many of our food banks are overrun just with what we've already got. Any more, and we're going to be in real trouble, John.
It's a good point, because the taxes in Canada right now are astronomical. I mean, you've got the carbon tax, not to mention the overall tax rate for any Canadian citizen. But if you bring in a bunch of people, like these asylum, they're going to seek asylum in Canada now rather than the United States. To your point, are there now Canadians that are pushing back on this, saying, look, if we can't welcome all these people in, our taxes are going to go up. Are you getting that type of pushback from maybe some Liberals in Canada saying no more?
Well, Liberals have to face it. If there was an election held today, Pierre Poilievre's Conservatives would win a majority, very much like what Trump did, because we're based on a meritocracy, not a wokeism. I mean, it's MEI, meritocracy, excellence, and intelligence. And like I said, the Liberals are behind the point by about 20 points. Canadians are very much interested in protecting Canada, and particularly with our free medical system. And again, as I said, if you look at the amount of food banks and our social services that are under extreme pressure already at this point because of students and our already illegal immigrants, any more of an influx, it's going to have undue pressure and economic problems. But I fear that we don't have the policing and or military resources to be able to protect our border as much as we should. And I think we're going to lean on, thank goodness for winter, because but unfortunately more people are going to die. What's it going to cost to rescue people who were stranded in the middle of the snow, John?
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, Vancouver's about the only city on the West Coast where this you could live, and they have a homeless problem there because that's where they all end up, on the streets.
You have a drug problem there too on Hastings Street.
East Hastings Street, you're absolutely right. Massive drug problem that goes with it. But when you talk about, the leader of the opposition, this is the who potentially could replace Prime Minister Trudeau. What's his stance and position on immigration?
Oh, hard border. I mean, he's exactly like Homan. We have to protect our border. You cannot get into Canada unless you are vetted. And we want people to come into Canada who are career experienced. We're not looking for refugees. We're looking for qualified people, people who can work in the IT section, people who are interested in starting businesses. Yeah. I mean, immigrants are the key to your economy. They're the people who pay the majority of fees. They're the people who hire people. They're the people that sit there and create businesses and drive an economy. That's the kind of people we want. We don't want refugees. And that sounds harsh. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to be harsh. But with the safety nets that we have, and yes, our taxes are a little more increased than what one would think in the United States. Yeah. We have to protect what we've got. I mean, we're 40 million people. I mean, come on. We've got to look very carefully at that. We have to be a little more protectionist. And I think that's the one thing that is a hallmark of what Trump has brought is that be proud to be American, be proud to protect yourself, and don't be shy to say that people who come here illegally have to leave. I think the one point that's going to be here on the tennis ball, John, is going to be DACA. I think he should say all DACA should stay, and that would quell so much of a problem in the United States.
Lastly, before I let you go, I want to ask you about these Americans that want to go to Canada because they weren't happy with how the election turned out. I'm talking about some Democrats that wanted to go up to Canada. But maybe just walk our viewers through. It's not as easy as it sounds for an American to go and live in Canada because they were unhappy that Harris didn't win. Your thoughts?
No, it's not. We had, there was some comment that it was 200% that Google had how to move to Canada. And in the United States, believe me, Cher, don't come. We don't want you. And all the woke liberals don't come up here because we're going conservative up here. And we're very much in line with what's happening in the United States. And for all intents and purposes, Europe as well. Everything is moving right. We're tired of it. And there's going to be a change. There's going to be a change, John.
Absolutely. Great conversation. Thanks for coming on, Michael Shervon. I always appreciate our Sunday segment. Thank you again. That's going to do it here for Sunday Report. Thank you so much for watching. Stay with us. Sunday Agenda starts right now with Lydia Serrano.